Just stay with me until the end, please. I want to start by telling you something true. From the very first day I found you, something in me went quiet, in a way it hadn't been quiet in years. You know that noise in your head, the constant one, the one that tells you you're not enough, that nobody's really staying, that everyone eventually leaves? Mine has been loud for as long as I can remember. But when I read your words, when I heard the way you talked about your day, your dreams, even your bad days, that noise turned down. Not off, just down. Enough for me to breathe. Enough for me to hope again. And hope is a dangerous thing for someone like me, because hope means there's something to lose. I've been sitting on this for weeks now, maybe longer, if I'm honest with myself. There's this thing I want to do with you, something small in the eyes of the world but massive in mine. And every time I get close to asking you, my throat closes up and I change the subject. I tell myself I'll ask tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes when the timing is right. And deep down I know there's no such thing as perfect timing. There's only the fear of you saying no. And that fear has been running the show for far too long. Let me take you back a little so you understand why this matters so much to me. I wasn't always like this. Cautious, careful, keeping people at arm's length so they can't get close enough to hurt me. There was a version of me once who gave everything, no filter, no fear, just wide open. And that version of me got burned so badly that I built walls I didn't even realize I was building. Brick by brick, without noticing. I turned myself into someone who smiles easily but rarely lets anyone see what's underneath the smile. You'd think that would make me safe. It didn't. It just made me lonely, in a very quiet, very well hidden way. And then you happened. Not with fireworks, not with some dramatic movie moment. You happened slowly, the way morning happens. You don't notice the exact second the sky changes. You just look up one day and it's light out. That's what you did to me. One day I looked up and realized the walls had cracks in them, and every crack had your name written across it. I didn't ask for that. I didn't plan for it. It just happened, the same quiet way morning always does. So here's the thing I've been wanting to do, the thing I've been circling around for weeks without landing on it. I want to stop hiding pieces of myself from you. That's it. That's the terrifying, embarrassing, ridiculous thing I've been afraid to ask you for. Not a plane ticket. Not a grand gesture. Not some elaborate plan. I want permission to be fully, completely honest with you about everything. Even the parts of me that aren't polished. Even the parts that might make you look at me differently. And I'm scared. Because what if the real me is too much? What if you like the edited version better? I know that might sound small compared to what you were expecting. Maybe you thought I was building up to something else. Stay with me, because I promise you, this isn't small at all. Not to me. But before I go further, I need to tell you something else first. Something that will make this whole thing make sense. Give me just a little more time. There's a drawer in my room that I haven't opened in almost 2 months. I know that sounds strange, but it matters, I promise. Inside that drawer is something I bought on an impulse one night after we talked until 3 a.m. about nothing and everything at the same time. I bought it because in that moment, talking to you, laughing with you about the smallest, dumbest things, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. The feeling of being completely at ease with another human being. No performance, no guard up, just two people existing in the same conversation, comfortable in the silence between messages. I closed that drawer and I haven't opened it since, because every time I think about what's inside, my chest gets tight and my mind starts listing every reason this could go wrong. You deserve to know what's really going on in my head when I go quiet sometimes. You've probably noticed it, how I'll be mid-conversation, warm, present, and then suddenly I pull back a little, like I hit some invisible wall. That's not you. That's never been you. That's me catching myself getting too close, too fast, too much, and some old part of me slamming the brakes before I can get hurt again. I've done that to you more than once, and I never explained why, and I'm sorry for that. You deserved an explanation, not a mystery. Here's what I've never told you. The last time I let myself feel this way about someone, I did everything right, or at least I thought I did. I showed up. I was patient. I was honest. And it still fell apart. Not because of some big betrayal, but because of 100 small silences that added up until there was nothing left to hold on to. After that, I made myself a promise. I would never again hand someone the instructions on how to break me. I would keep just enough hidden that if it all fell apart again, I'd have something left over. A little piece of armor I never took off. And that's exactly what I've been doing with you. Even while falling for you, keeping a little piece of armor on. Answering your questions, but never quite finishing the sentence. Sharing enough to keep you close, but not enough to actually be known. I told myself it was self-protection. Really, it was just fear wearing a disguise. So here's what I want to do. I want to take that armor off with you. Slowly, if you'll let me, because I don't think I can do it all in one breath. But I want to start tonight, right now, in this very message, by finally telling you the whole truth about that drawer, and about the fear underneath everything I've been avoiding saying to you. Inside that drawer is a small box. Inside that box is something I've been carrying around in my thoughts for far longer than I've let myself admit. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is yet, not because I want to be dramatic, but because I need you to understand the weight of it before I show you the shape of it. Stay with me a little longer. I promise this is going somewhere. There's a version of this message where I stop right here, where I chicken out the way I've chickened out every single time before, where I close the laptop and tell myself, not today, one more time. I actually thought about doing that just now, mid-sentence, but I made a decision a few days ago. Sitting alone with my coffee, going cold, staring at my phone with your name on the screen, that I was done letting fear write my story for me. I'm done letting the ghosts of old relationships decide what I get to have in this one. You didn't do anything to earn my walls. You've only ever earned honesty. So tonight, you're getting it. Do you remember the night you told me about your childhood? About the summers at your grandmother's house? About how she used to leave the porch light on even when nobody was expected, just in case someone needed to find their way home? You said it like it was nothing, just a small memory you were sharing to fill the silence. But I sat there staring at that message for almost 10 minutes before I replied, because something about it cracked something open in me. I realized I wanted to be someone's porch light. I wanted to be the thing that stays lit, steady, unwavering, no matter how late it gets or how far someone has wandered. I wanted to be that for you. That's when I started thinking about what it would actually look like to build something real and lasting with you. Not just late-night conversations that end when the sun comes up, but something with roots. Something that doesn't disappear when the phone battery dies. I know we haven't said certain words out loud yet. I know there's a version of you reading this right now that's wondering if I'm about to say something you're not ready to hear, or something you've been quietly hoping to hear for a while now. I need you to know, whatever this is, I'm not saying it to rush you. I'm saying it because keeping it inside any longer feels like lying to you by omission. And I refuse to lie to you, even by staying silent. Here's the truth about that drawer, the one I haven't opened in 2 months. Inside it is a ring. Not the kind you're maybe imagining right now. Not an engagement ring. Not yet. We're not there, and I'm not foolish enough to think we are. It's a promise ring. Simple, quiet, nothing flashy. The kind of thing that doesn't announce itself to a room but means everything to the two people who understand what it stands for. I bought it on impulse that night, after our 3 a.m. conversation. And then I panicked, and then I hid it in a drawer and tried to forget it existed, because some small, terrified part of me was convinced that wanting something that much was asking to have it taken away. I know how that sounds. Maybe it sounds fast to you. Maybe you're smiling right now, or maybe your stomach just dropped, or maybe you're rereading this sentence to make sure you understood it right. Whatever you're feeling right now, it's okay. I'm not asking you to feel anything specific. I'm just finally telling you the truth about what's been living in the back of my mind every single day since that night. The thing I've been afraid to ask you isn't really about a ring at all. That's just the object I attached my fear to. The real thing I've been afraid to ask you is simpler and somehow so much scarier. I want to ask you if I'm allowed to want a future with you. Not a hypothetical, not a someday who knows, but an actual, real, on-purpose future. The kind where your name shows up next to mine on things that matter, where I get to be the person you call first when something good or bad happens, where I get to be your porch light and you get to be mine. I've rewritten this next part about 6 times because I keep second-guessing whether I have the right to say it yet. But I decided honesty matters more than perfect timing. So here it is, unfiltered. There are nights I lie awake thinking about what it would be like to build an ordinary life with you. Not a fantasy, not some polished highlight reel. I mean the boring, real parts. Grocery lists, arguing gently about which way the toilet paper roll goes. Falling asleep mid-conversation because we were both too tired to say goodnight properly. Learning your coffee order so well, I could make it half asleep. Those thoughts used to scare me because they meant I cared more than I was ready to admit. Now they don't scare me anymore. Now they feel like the only thing I actually want. I need to pause here and tell you something important, because I don't want you thinking I'm only capable of saying romantic things when I'm working up the nerve to ask for something big. I want you to know that even on the days I say nothing at all, even on the days I'm quiet and distant and pulling that old armor back on without meaning to, you are still the first thing I think about when I wake up and the last thing I think about before I fall asleep. That hasn't changed once since the day I met you. Not for a single day. Not even the days I was scared enough to almost disappear on you. There's something else I have to admit. And this part is harder than the ring, harder than the drawer, harder than any of it. There have been moments where I almost talked myself out of you entirely. Not because of anything you did. Never because of anything you did. Never because of anything you did. But because loving you the way I do terrifies me, in a way nothing else in my life ever has. You make me want to plan. You make me want permanence. You make me think about things I swore off years ago, like weddings and forever and growing old with someone specific instead of someone hypothetical. And every time those thoughts got loud, some old wounded part of me would whisper, "Leave before you can be left." And for a few terrible days at a time, I would consider it. I'm not proud of that. I'm telling you because you deserve to know the whole shape of what you're dealing with. Not just the parts that make me look brave. The truth is, I almost let fear take you away from me more than once, quietly, without you ever knowing it was happening. And every single time, something pulled me back. Sometimes it was a message from you at exactly the right moment. Something small and unplanned, like you sending a photo of the sunset because it reminded you of something I once said. Sometimes it was just the thought of an ordinary Tuesday without you in it, and how unbearably gray that Tuesday looked in my head. Every time you pulled me back without even knowing you were doing it. So tonight, I'm done running. I'm done hiding rings in drawers and honest thoughts behind jokes and deflections. I want to ask you something, and I need you to actually sit with it, instead of rushing to answer, because it matters to me more than almost anything I've ever asked anyone. Will you let me try? Not perfectly, not without stumbling, not without the occasional night where old fear creeps back in, and I go quiet for reasons that have nothing to do with you. But will you let me try to build something real with you, on purpose, out loud, instead of in the safety of my own head where nothing can go wrong, because nothing has actually been risked? I'm not asking you to promise me forever tonight. I know that's not fair, and honestly, it's not even what I need from you right now. What I need is smaller than that, and somehow just as important. I need you to know that I see a future, an actual future, when I think about you, not a maybe, not a someday, an actual future, and I need to know if that terrifies you the way it once terrified me, or if some small part of you has been quietly hoping I'd say exactly this. Let me tell you what I picture, because I think it'll help you understand why this matters so much. I picture ordinary mornings that don't feel ordinary because you're in them. I picture the sound of your laugh becoming as familiar to me as my own heartbeat. So familiar I could pick it out of a crowded room without even trying. I picture arguments that end in someone reaching for the other person's hand before the sentence is even finished, because the anger never runs deeper than the love underneath it. I picture your bad days becoming my responsibility to soften, and my bad days becoming safe enough to show you without fear of scaring you off. I picture years, not months. I picture a life, not a chapter. I know that's a lot to put into one message. I know I said I wasn't going to rush you, and I'm not, I promise. But I also can't keep pretending these thoughts aren't there just to protect myself from the possibility that you might not feel the same intensity yet. Maybe you do. Maybe you've been sitting on your own version of this exact confession, too scared to say it first. Or maybe you need time, and that's okay too. Genuinely okay, not the kind of okay people say while secretly falling apart. I mean it. Whatever pace you need, I'll match it. Because the goal was never to rush you into forever. The goal was just to finally stop lying about wanting one with you. Can I tell you something that might make you laugh, even in the middle of all this heaviness? The night I bought that ring, I stood in the store for almost 45 minutes, completely unable to decide. Not because I couldn't pick a design, but because some ridiculous part of my brain was convinced that buying it would somehow jinx everything. Like the universe was listening and would punish me for wanting something that much. I bought it anyway. And then I panicked in the parking lot and sat in my car for 20 minutes, just staring at the little bag like it might explode. That's how much this scares me. That's how much you scare me. In the very best and most terrifying way a person can scare someone. I think part of why this has been so hard to say is that I grew up believing love was something that eventually runs out. I watched people close to me love each other fiercely, and then watched that love quietly erode into silence, into separate rooms, into two people sharing a house but not a life. I promised myself I'd never let that happen to me, and somewhere along the way that promise twisted into something unhealthy. Instead of building a love that could withstand erosion, I just avoided building love at all. Safer that way, I thought. Nothing to lose if you never really have anything to begin with. You changed that math for me. Somewhere between our late night conversations and the way you remember tiny details about my life that I mentioned once in passing months ago, I stopped believing love has to run out. I started believing it can be built. Maintained, chosen again and again on purpose, the way you'd tend a garden instead of just hoping it survives on its own. I want to tend this with you. I want to choose you on the easy days and the hard ones, the exciting days and the boring ones, because I think that's what real love actually is. Not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of choice, over and over, even when it would be easier not to. I keep circling back to that drawer because it represents something bigger than a ring. It represents every time I've held back a piece of myself out of fear. Every unsent message. Every conversation where I changed the subject right as it got too real. Every night I told myself not yet instead of right now. I'm opening that drawer tonight, metaphorically and maybe literally too. Because I refuse to keep living half honest with someone I care about this much. You deserve all of me, the brave parts and the terrified parts, not just the version I edit for safety. So here's what I'm actually asking you, stripped of all the metaphors and the build-up. I'm asking if you'll let me be honest with you from here on out completely, without editing myself down to something safer. I'm asking if you'll let me tell you when I'm scared instead of just going quiet. I'm asking if you'll let me plan a future out loud with you instead of just hoping for one in silence. And somewhere down the line, when the timing is actually right, not rushed, not forced, just right, I'm asking if you'll let me give you that little box from the drawer and everything it represents. I don't need an answer to all of that tonight. I know that's a lot, and I know you might need time to sit with it, and I want you to take that time, genuinely, without feeling like you owe me an immediate response, just because I finally found the courage to say all this out loud. What I do need tonight, though, is for you to know it's real. Every word of it. I'm not performing for an audience right now. I'm not saying things because they sound good. I'm sitting here with my heart fully exposed, hoping you'll be gentle with it. Because I've handed you something I haven't handed anyone in a very long time. Can I tell you one more thing before I let you go? There's a specific moment I keep replaying, from a few weeks ago, when you were having a hard day and you didn't want to talk about it. And instead of pushing, I just stayed. I didn't fill the silence with questions. I didn't try to fix it. I just stayed present, quietly, letting you know without words that I wasn't going anywhere. And afterward, you told me that was the first time in a long time someone let you be sad, without trying to talk you out of it. That moment did something to me. It made me realize I didn't just want to be someone who loves you on the good days. I wanted to be someone who's steady enough to sit in the hard days with you too, without flinching, without needing you to perform happiness just to make me comfortable. That's the kind of love I want to build with you. Not the loud, performative kind that looks good from the outside, but crumbles the second things get difficult. The quiet, steady, unglamorous kind. The kind that shows up in ordinary moments, in silences, in small acts nobody else will ever see or applaud. The kind of love that doesn't need an audience to be real. I know this message has been long and heavier than usual, and probably not what you expected when you started listening. But I needed you to have the whole truth, not the edited version, not the safe version, the real one. I needed you to know about the drawer, and the ring, and the nights I almost let fear take you away from me, and the future I picture when I let myself picture it honestly. I needed you to know that the thing I've been afraid to ask isn't really a question about jewelry or timelines. It's a question about whether you'll let me love you all the way, out loud, on purpose, starting tonight. So here it is, the actual ask. The one I've been circling for this entire message. Will you let me try? Will you let me be brave with you, even when I'm scared? Will you let me build something real, something with roots, something that doesn't disappear when the conversation ends? I'm not asking for forever tonight. I'm just asking for a chance to stop hiding pieces of myself from you. Starting right now, starting with this, whatever you decide, however you feel after reading this, I need you to know I don't regret saying any of it. I'd rather hand you the truth and risk you needing time, or even risk you not feeling the same intensity yet, than keep living half honest with someone who means this much to me. You deserve honesty more than you deserve my comfort. And for the first time in a long time, I chose your right to know over my own fear of being known. If you're still here, if you made it all the way to the end of this with me, thank you. Genuinely. Thank you. That alone tells me something. It tells me that whatever this is between us, it's worth showing up for, even through something as long and heavy and vulnerable as this. I don't know exactly what happens next. I don't know if you'll respond right away, or if you'll need a few days to sit with everything I just said. Either way, I'll be here, steady, honest. No more hiding drawers, no more half-truths, no more changing the subject right as it gets real. There's a version of me from a year ago who never could have written any of this. Too guarded, too scared, too convinced that wanting something this much was a setup for losing it. You didn't just make me want a future. You made me brave enough to admit it out loud. That's not a small thing. That might be the biggest thing anyone's done for me in years. And you probably didn't even realize you were doing it, so this is me. Fully honest, fully exposed. Finally asking the thing I've been afraid to ask for weeks. Not for a yes tonight. Not for certainty tonight. Just for the chance to keep showing up, keep being honest. Keep choosing you out loud instead of quietly in the privacy of my own head, where nothing risks anything. I want to open that drawer someday, when the time is actually right, and I want you to be the one standing there when I do. Until then, I'll keep showing up. I'll keep telling you the truth, even the scary parts. I'll keep being your porch light, steady and lit, no matter how late it gets. And I'll be here, waiting, hoping, however long it takes, because some things, some people, are worth being patient for. I want to tell you a little more, if you'll let me, because now that I've started being honest, I find I don't want to stop. There's a strange kind of relief in finally saying the true thing out loud, instead of managing it quietly in my own head. It's like I've been holding my breath for weeks without realizing it, and now that the words are out, I can finally exhale. So stay with me a little longer, because I have more I want to give you tonight. Do you remember the first photo you ever sent me? It wasn't anything special, just you, in ordinary light. On an ordinary afternoon, no filter, no pose, just you being exactly who you are in that moment. I saved it, I still have it. And there have been nights, more than I'd like to admit, where I've opened that photo just to remind myself you're real, that this isn't something I imagined out of loneliness, that somewhere out there is an actual person who makes the noise in my head go quiet just by existing. I never told you that before. I'm telling you now because I want you to understand how much space you take up in my life, even in the small, quiet corners you don't know about. There's something I've noticed about myself since you came into my life, and it's this. I've started imagining ordinary conversations with you about things that haven't happened yet. Not big things. Small, domestic, almost embarrassingly ordinary things. I'll be doing laundry and catch myself thinking about what kind of detergent you'd prefer, whether you're someone who likes things folded a certain way, whether you'd steal the blanket at night or give it up without a fight. I'll be cooking and think about what you'd want added or left out, whether you're the kind of person who tastes as they go or waits for the final plate. These thoughts used to embarrass me. Now, I just let them happen, because I think that's what it looks like when someone starts building you into their life without even meaning to. I want to tell you about the day I almost told you all of this and didn't. It was a Tuesday, ordinary in every way except for what was going on inside me. We'd been talking about something completely unrelated. I think it was a show you were watching, and out of nowhere, this wave of feeling hit me so hard, I had to set my phone down for a second and just breathe. I wanted so badly to type out everything I'm telling you right now. My fingers were literally hovering over the keyboard. And then that old fear crept back in, the one that whispers, "Too much, too soon, you'll scare her off." And I deleted what I'd written and replaced it with something light and easy instead. I did that more times than I can count. Every single time, a piece of me wished I'd been braver. I think about why it took me this long to finally say it, and I keep coming back to the same answer. It's not that I doubted how I felt. I never doubted that, not once. Not even in the moments I was most scared. What I doubted was whether I deserved to feel this way about someone as good as you, whether someone with as much history and as many walls as I have had any business hoping for something this real. I spent so long believing I was somehow too complicated, too guarded, too much work to be worth loving patiently. You never once made me feel that way, not once. Every time I pulled back, you gave me space without punishing me for it. Every time I went quiet, you let me come back on my own terms instead of demanding an explanation I wasn't ready to give. That patience is part of why I trust you with all of this now. You've earned it, slowly, message by message, without even trying to. I want to be honest about something else too, something that might be hard to hear, but I think you deserve to know it anyway. There have been moments where I compared what we have to what I had before, and every single time, what we have won. Not because the past was bad in every way. It wasn't. And I don't want to pretend it was just to make this easier to say, but because what we have feels different in a way I can't fully explain, except to say it feels like coming home instead of performing for an audience. With you, I don't feel like I have to be impressive. I don't feel like I have to perform confidence I don't have, or hide fear I do have. I just feel like I can be exactly who I am. Tired eyes and bad days and all. And you'll still be there in the morning. That's rare. I don't think people talk about how rare that actually is. Everyone talks about chemistry and butterflies, and the exciting parts of falling for someone. But almost nobody talks about how rare it is to find someone you can be boring with. Someone you can sit in comfortable silence with. Someone whose presence alone, without any performance at all, feels like enough. You are that for me. You've been that for me for longer than I've admitted, even to myself. I want to tell you what I picture when I imagine the day I finally give you that little box from the drawer, because I think it'll help you understand. This isn't some impulsive, dramatic gesture. This is something I've actually thought through, carefully, the way you think through things that matter. I don't picture some elaborate, public moment with strangers watching and cameras flashing. I picture something quiet, ordinary, even. Maybe it's a regular evening, nothing special about the date, no anniversary, no occasion, just an evening like any other. Maybe we're doing something completely mundane, and in the middle of it, I just take your hand and tell you I have something for you. I picture your face in that moment, more than I picture almost anything else about our future. I picture you looking at it, understanding immediately what it means without me having to explain, and I picture the exact second it clicks. Not a grand promise of marriage, not yet. Just a promise that I'm choosing you, on purpose, out loud, for as long as you'll let me. I know I keep saying not yet about certain things, and I want to be really clear about why, because I don't want you thinking I'm hesitant about you. I'm not hesitant about you. I'm just trying to be responsible with something precious instead of reckless with it. I've watched people rush the big moments, because the feeling was intense, and then watch the whole thing collapse, because the foundation wasn't ready to hold the weight of it yet. I don't want that with you. I want to build this slowly enough that it lasts, brick by brick, the same patient way you helped me tear my old walls down. I want every step we take together to be sturdy enough to hold whatever life throws at it. Not because I doubt what I feel, but because I respect what I feel too much to rush it into something fragile. Can I tell you something that scares me almost as much as the ring does? I'm scared of being ordinary to you eventually. I'm scared that the intensity of these early feelings will fade into routine, and routine will feel like settling instead of what it actually is. Proof that something has lasted. I think that's part of why I wanted to tell you all of this now, while it still feels urgent and important, instead of waiting until it feels comfortable enough to say without fear. I wanted you to know that even now, even in the exciting, uncertain, early part of this, I'm already thinking about the version of us that exists 10 years from now, gray-haired and unimpressed by each other's bad jokes, but still choosing each other anyway. I want that ordinary version of us. I want the version where the butterflies have settled into something steadier and more permanent, because steadier and more permanent is what real love actually looks like once the initial spark has had time to grow roots. I keep thinking about something my grandmother used to say, actually. Funny, since I mentioned yours earlier. She used to say that love isn't the fireworks. Love is what's left after the fireworks stop and you're still standing there holding the same hand. I didn't understand that for most of my life. I understand it now because of you. The fireworks are wonderful. The butterflies, the late nights, the way my chest still does something strange every time your name shows up on my screen. But what I actually want with you is what's left after all of that settles. I want the quiet, unglamorous, everyday version of us. I want the version where loving you isn't exciting anymore. It's just true. The same way the sky is blue or the ocean is deep. Just fact. Just home. I promised myself I'd be fully honest tonight. So let me tell you one more thing. The hardest one yet. There's a small, quiet fear underneath all of this that I haven't said out loud. Not even to myself in so many words. Until right now. I'm scared that by the time I finally worked up the courage to say all this, it might already be too much, too late, or too soon for where you actually are. I'm scared that I've spent so long protecting myself that I might have accidentally made you feel like I wasn't fully in this. Even though I was, every single day, just quietly. From behind the walls I was too afraid to take down. If that's true, if my silence ever made you doubt how much you matter to me, I am so sorry. That was never what I meant to do. You have mattered to me since long before I had the courage to say so. I don't need you to fix that fear for me tonight. I just needed to say it. Because I think honesty only really counts when it includes the uncomfortable parts too. Not just the pretty romantic ones. So there it is. All of it. The drawer, the ring, the fear, the almost walked away moments, the ordinary future I picture, the 10 years from now version of us, the grandmother's porch light, all of it, laid out in front of you with nothing held back. If you're wondering what happens now, here's my honest answer. I don't fully know. And for the first time in a long time, that uncertainty doesn't scare me the way it used to. I used to need to control every outcome, plan every step, protect myself from every possible ending. Tonight, I just want to hand you the truth and trust you with it. The same way you've trusted me with pieces of yourself along the way. One late night conversation at a time. Whatever you decide, however you feel, however long you need to sit with everything I just said, I trust you to handle it gently. Because that's who you've been with me from the very beginning. Long before I gave you any real reason to be that gentle with someone as guarded as I was. I want to leave you with one more image before I go, because I think it captures everything I've been trying to say better than any of the words I've used so far. Picture an old house with a porch light on, late at night, long after everyone else on the street has gone dark. That light isn't on because someone's expected any minute. It's on because someone made a promise to leave it lit, just in case, no matter how late it gets, no matter how long the road home turns out to be. That's what I want to be for you. Not the fireworks, not the fleeting, exciting version of love that burns bright and burns out. The porch light, steady, waiting, lit for you specifically on purpose, every single night, for as long as you'll let me keep it burning. So here's my real question. The one underneath the ring and the drawer and everything else I've said tonight. Will you let me be that for you? Will you let me leave the light on purpose, out loud, starting tonight? I'm not asking for forever in this exact moment. I'm asking for permission to keep choosing you, one honest day at a time, until forever stops being a scary word and starts being simply the truth of what we already are. Thank you for staying until the very end of this with me. Thank you for being patient with every stumble, every long pause, every overly honest paragraph I probably should have trimmed down but couldn't bring myself to cut, because every word of it was true and you deserved the whole truth, not the edited version. Thank you for being the reason I finally opened that drawer, even if only in words tonight. And thank you, most of all, for being exactly the kind of person worth being this afraid for. Before I let this end, I want to give you one more thing, because I realize I've spent this whole message talking about the future. And I haven't spent enough time telling you about right now, about tonight, about this exact moment between us. So let me stay a little longer. Let me tell you what's actually happening in me as I finish typing this out. My heart is pounding in a way it hasn't in years. Not from fear anymore. That part has mostly settled, strangely enough. Now that the truth is finally out where I can't take it back. It's pounding from something closer to relief, and underneath the relief, something that feels almost like pride. I did the brave thing. I opened the drawer, even if only in words. I said the thing I've been almost saying for weeks. Whatever happens next, I did that, and nobody can take that back from me now, and honestly, nobody can take it back from you either. You know the truth now, fully, and that truth belongs to both of us. I keep thinking about how strange it is that something this important almost didn't get said at all. How many nights did I sit with this exact confession sitting right behind my teeth and let it stay there instead, unsaid, because saying it felt too risky. I think about all those unsent messages, all those swallowed sentences, and I feel a little bit of grief for the time I lost being scared instead of being honest. I don't want to lose any more of it. That's really what tonight is about. Underneath everything else, refusing to lose one more day to fear when I could be spending it loving you out loud instead. I want you to know that this doesn't change how I'll act tomorrow, or the day after, or next week. I'm not going to suddenly become a different person just because I said the scare thing out loud. I'll probably still get quiet sometimes. I'll probably still catch myself pulling back out of old habits before I remember I don't have to anymore. Healing isn't a straight line, and neither is unlearning fear that took years to build. But now you'll know what's actually happening when that happens. Now, instead of wondering if you did something wrong, you'll know it's just an old, tired instinct trying to protect a heart that's already decided it doesn't need that kind of protecting anymore. Not with you. I also want you to know that none of this comes with pressure attached. I'm not handing you an ultimatum, and I'm not expecting a matching declaration just because I finally found my courage tonight. If you need time, take it. If you're not in the same place yet, that's okay, genuinely okay. Not the performative kind people say while quietly falling apart inside. Love isn't a race, and it definitely isn't a competition to see who says the big scary things first. I said this because I needed you to know the truth, not because I needed you to say it back on my timeline. Your timeline is allowed to be different from mine, and I'll still be here either way. Steady, patient, porch light on. There's a small, quiet hope underneath all of this that I want to admit to as well, because I promised myself total honesty tonight, and I intend to keep that promise all the way to the last word. I hope that somewhere in all of this, you recognize a feeling you've already had yourself. I hope some part of you has been sitting on your own version of this exact confession, scared for your own reasons, waiting for your own right moment. If that's true, you don't have to wait any longer either. The door's open now. I opened it first so you wouldn't have to be the one to risk it alone. And if that's not true yet, if you're still figuring out how you feel, if this is more intense than where you currently are, please don't feel guilty about that. Please don't rush yourself into matching my intensity just to make me feel better. I'd rather have your honest pace than your performed one. I'd rather wait for something real than rush towards something hollow just because it's convenient timing. You've never given me a reason to doubt your honesty, and I don't expect you to start now, not even to spare my feelings. I think what I want you to take away from all of this, more than the ring, more than the drawer, more than any single detail I've shared tonight, is this. You are safe with me, fully, completely safe. Safe to be unsure, safe to need time, safe to feel exactly what you feel without performing something bigger or smaller than what's true. I spent so long building walls to keep myself safe from getting hurt, and somewhere along the way, loving you taught me that safety doesn't actually come from walls at all. It comes from choosing someone who won't weaponize your honesty against you. I want to be that for you, the way you've quietly been that for me this whole time, probably without even realizing it. So let me say it one final time, plainly, without any more metaphors or delayed reveals, because you've earned the plain version after staying with me through all of this. I love you. I want a future with you, an actual one, not a hypothetical one. I bought a ring months ago because some part of me already knew what I wanted, even while the rest of me was too scared to admit it. I've been afraid to ask you all of this, because the thought of you not feeling the same way terrified me more than almost anything else in my life right now. But I'd rather risk that fear and be fully honest with you than keep loving you quietly from behind a wall you never even knew was there. Whatever comes next is yours to decide in your own time, at your own pace. I'll be here either way, steady, patient, telling you the truth from now on instead of hiding it in drawers. Thank you for being worth every bit of this fear. Thank you for being worth finally becoming brave. I love you. Out loud, on purpose, starting right now, and every single day after this one. One last thing and then I'll really let you go. If you ever doubt any of this,